All right, judges, are you ready? All right. Time. From the first moment I became a barista, that learning curve was so steep. Every day felt like an adventure for my senses and a new door opening with every extraction. After years in the industry, our experience grows, and that steep learning curve starts to slow down, and we begin to focus on the minute details of every espresso. Enter that competition arena, and that learning turns to the pursuit of perfection. That perfect coffee, perfect extraction. How do I score that elusive 6? Well, after years of competing, that constant drive to be perfect was actually filling me with anxiety. So much so, even thought about not competing this year. But then I realised the pursuit of perfection wasn't actually helping. It was hindering me. So I asked myself, where do I go from here? This led me to a new way of thinking, the pursuit of constant improvement. It's a philosophy of improving everything we do by a small margin at a time. So today, I set out not to be perfect, but to simply be better than I was last year, and to share with you an amazing coffee experience, as well as showcasing my skills as a barista, alongside my roaster, producers, and a few other friends along the way. Now today, I'll be serving your drinks in order of the score sheet, and you'll see some visuals around, which I'll be rotating throughout the routine. So feel free to break eye contact at any stage and take notes. Now last year, I focused on my espresso pre-extraction with the auto cone and the vibrating table. This year, with the pursuit of constant improvement, I thought, what can I do next? So I decided to focus on my espresso post-extraction with a big goal in mind, to enhance the taste experience. So I set out, looking into other industries to gain inspiration. And this is where I met Gary Ong, who's pioneering the use of ultra-low frequency electromagnetic waves, or waves for short. Now, Gary and I instantly connected, as we're both on the path of constant improvement. His patented technology was originally used to treat ballast water in cargo ships, so it could be safely returned back into the ocean. But what we didn't know at the time was its potential applications in other products. Now, with espresso being 90% water, Gary and I wanted to see the impact this could have in coffee. So we began collaborating and exploring the potential for post-extraction espresso improvement. And the results have been fascinating. Now this machine behind me generates 500 hertz of ultra-low frequency electromagnetic waves. And by sending waves to the espresso, we are energizing the water molecules, essentially causing them to vibrate. But why is this important? Well, as you may know, coffee is high in polyphenols, like caffeine, contributing to some of the bitterness in the coffee. By sending waves to the espresso, we're encouraging these molecules to bond together. Now you'll see these magnets in front of you. They represent the polyphenols in the espresso. So, judges on the end, would you mind giving these boxes a little shake back and forth, please? Yeah, just like that, perfect. Now this is what's happening inside the espresso. These vibrations are causing larger molecular chains of bitter compounds, and this does something amazing. By forming these larger molecules, some of the bitterness is escaping detection from our palate, essentially creating a smaller surface area touching our tongue. I found this increased our perception of sweetness, reduced the bitterness, and enhanced the overall taste experience. Now, just like the time, dose, and yield, the wave is another tool to constantly improve our espresso. Every coffee requires a different length of waves. Today, I found 2 seconds gave me the best taste experience, really highlighting the blood orange in this course. So judges, when you're ready, if you could please write these tasting notes down for the espresso course of blood orange, yellow peach, and black cherry, and an aftertaste of brown sugar. It's going to have a medium weight, silky to juicy texture, and a lingering, rich finish. I'm using a recipe of 20 in, 42 out, in 29 seconds, and 2 seconds of waves. Now today, I'm working with 2 coffee producers that personify the pursuit of constant improvement. For the milk course, which I'll be serving you second, I've been working with Jonathan Gaskar and his natural Pacamara, grown on his farm, Zaza, in Wheeler, Colombia, 1,500 metres above sea level. Starting in 2010, Jonathan was working with commodity-grade coffee, but had an interest in fermentation to push his production to specialty. However, early results were considered defective, losing himself and his family a lot of money in the process. But thanks to Jonathan staying on the path of constant improvement and his innovative processing techniques, I'm able to share with you one of the best Pacamaras I've ever tried. Now, Jonathan fermented this coffee for 150 hours anaerobically, followed by a thermal shock. This started with 50-degree hot water, opening up the pores of the coffee, following by a 20-degree cold water wash. These controlled temperature variations introduce complexity of flavour to the coffee. Now for the espresso course, and I'm serving you an amazing coffee from Jamison Savage, a nitrogen macerated Gesher, grown on his farm, Finca Debra, in Volcan, Panama, 1,900 metres above sea level. Now, Jamison is a producer focused on terroir and ecology, showcasing the Gesher varietal in some of the best growing conditions possible. As well as highlighting the expression of the land, Jamison is constantly improving. From risk-driven experimentation, maximising every coffee's potential, and adding layers of precision and control throughout the process, constantly improving. Now, judges, if you could please assess the crema for these espressos first, just before I wave them. So just assessing crema. Thank you. So these are in order. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, Jamison's latest improvement is nitrogen maceration, a heavier inert gas than carbon dioxide, resulting in a richer sweetness. The coffee is placed into a tank and flushed with nitrogen and allowed to ferment for 50 hours, cataloguing temperature and pH throughout the process. From here, it enters raised beds for 20 days and dried to 11% moisture content, resulting in an amazing texture. Now today, judges, I'm serving your coffee in a cup with an evolving lip thickness. Unlike traditional cups, this cup gives me the ability to choose a perfect thickness for every coffee. Today, I found the thin side really highlighted that juicy and silky texture of Jamison's coffee. So if you could please drink from this side, and this side only today. So judges, please enjoy. Those pink cups to the side are for your dirty spoons. Enjoy. Thank you. Okay, judges, if you could please write these tasting notes down for the milk course of sweet cherry, melted chocolate ice cream, and shaved coconut. Now, in previous years, I explored the milk course through cryodesiccation, a technique that allowed me to concentrate milk in a pressurised environment while minimising oxygen and light exposure. Well, I wasn't sure where I could take the milk course next. The pursuit of constant improvement has opened my eyes to new possibilities. Using this platform behind me, I've been able to introduce waves to milk for hours at a time. This machine creates a dome of ultra-low frequency waves on top of whatever I place on it. And just like those polyphenols that bonded together in the espresso, the fat globules bonded together in the milk. And as you know, fat globules play a huge part in milk texture. So by bonding them together, it's created a rich, creamy texture, almost like melted ice cream. Now today, I'm going to use a combination of both these methods. 90% full cream milk waved for 2 hours, with the addition of 10% cryodesiccated coconut milk. The addition of coconut milk provides a rich sweetness to this coffee. Now today I'm using a recipe of 21 in, 35 out in 26 seconds. 1 part espresso to 4 parts milk. Now I've been working with my roaster Matt for over 7 years. Throughout this time, he's been constantly studying, traveling abroad, and on that path to constant improvement. Thanks to Matt's skill and the magnetic waves, we've been able to roast to achieve more sweetness. It's enabled us to roast longer, to 11 minutes with a 23% development time, maximising its sweetness and solubility. So judges, please enjoy. We'll be back soon. All right, judges, now for the signature course. And today, I'll be using 2 espressos of the Gesha and 2 of the Pacamara, extracted to the same numbers as their respective courses. First, focusing on Jamison's coffee. I wanted to highlight that rich sweetness he accomplished with his processing method. So I'll be adding 80 ml of distilled peach honey, made from the juice of 8 clingstone peaches. Taking inspiration from Jamison's constant improvement of fermentation by removing oxygen, I used a rotary evaporator with a vacuum pump to do the same. This allowed me to distill the honey down to a thick honey anaerobically. This was achieved over an hour and a half, 60 degrees, and 120 RPM. I chose peaches because I wanted to maintain those floral notes of the Gesha while adding new flavours of mango and passion fruit to this course. Now, by using this rotary evaporator, I was able to collect the hydrosol, which is the water and aromats that are normally lost through regular distillation. By adding this to the drink, it provides dilution through precision and control, just like Jamison and his processing. Next, I've added 80 ml of this. Next, turning our attention to Jonathan's coffee and the future potential of the path of constant improvement. Gary, Jonathan and I have created a plan to take the waved to Zaza. And with this technology's ability to energize anything with water, we wanted to see the impact it could have with coffee fermentation. And we've made some really exciting plans. Let me show you how this would work. First, we'd place the cherries on the wave platform for 2 hours. Utilising the method I applied in the milk course, providing sweetness and texture to the coffee. From here, we transfer it to a tank to ferment anaerobically. And this is where it gets really interesting. We'd use this single wave maker to stop the fermentation on the spot. By energising the ferment, it stops that metabolic process instantly by vibrating the molecules. Now I can't wait to see the impact this has on coffee fermentation, giving Jonathan ultimate control. Today I've created 2 fermentations utilising this method. The first is made with Canotto. To create this, I placed 100 grams of Canotto on the wave platform for 2 hours, using this same method. I then allow it to ferment for 48 hours in a sealed jar at room temperature. I chose Canotto because it works perfectly with those cherry notes of Jonathan's coffee to give us new flavours of dried apricot and orange soda. Next, I carbonate this to 60 psi and infuse it for 24 hours. So here's one I prepared a little earlier. Now that second fermentation is made with equal parts white peach and marigold flowers, utilising the same recipe as a Canotto. I'll be using this as an aroma cloud today by pouring it over dry ice. This replaces the aroma lost by serving this at 4 degrees and highlights the flavour notes. And if you could please write these down. Of mango, passion fruit, dried apricot, and orange soda. Now judges, if you could please wait until I call time to assess this drink. Please take as many sips as you like. Oh, just wait until we call time, sorry, thank you. But I'll ask you to please take that aroma in with your first sip, which you'll experience as passion fruit. Now, the path of constant improvement has made me look at coffee like a puzzle. Not one giant picture, but those individual pieces. Now, those pieces have turned into collaborations that can have potential impacts in the industry. Now, as I stand here today, I'm a better barista than I was last year. And next year, I'll improve even more. Because once on this path of constant improvement, it isn't about being perfect, it's about the journey. Thank you so much. Please enjoy time.